water dressink. Listen closely. Listen very closely. This is your final warning. Passover is here, none shall pass. There will be wars and rumors of wars, such as the chant of the ego mind. The ego lives only in the physical, where the Lord, its God, is a jealous God. Its Lord is the one of polarized judgment and constant conflict. It, the reptilian mind ego, seeks solace in imprinting others of its kind and sucks greedily at the teats hanging from the imprints of others of its kind. It is the chattering Babylonian that seeks to express its conflict from within into the material world it creates in its own image, having at its center the hex of G between consciousness E and creation O. It is the mind that claims, I'm not jealous, I'm not materialistic, and utterances of the like, all the while blaming others and justifying its position constantly. You cannot talk to one trapped in this circuit of circuits because they simply short out and explode even further. It is the screaming child in the toy store, yet equal responsibility is shared with the parent for even bringing them to the store in the first place. They promise to be good children over and over again, but you see the trend where the child is best left to have some quiet time to think about it. They are the ones that live in the physical waters of emotions, storming seas, destroying their ships, while they are caught up in the rigging of the game. Intertwining with the oils of spirit and intent, all of the chaos creating murky waters until these raging emotional monsters are tamed and destroyed. The tricky bit, and the one that is the hardest, is knowing this, and then standing in the face of others who do not, while they whip you with their cat o' nine tails, the very one they need to turn on themselves. It's as simple as never needing to say sorry, and every time you do, that's the beast's fault, not the spirit. Shake up water and a dark oil long enough and it becomes opaque, impossible to see through, and this is the majority of mankind. The more one wants materialistically to induce a false joy, the more one needs to say, I'm sorry. I just learned to listen to myself long enough to hear these echoes of self, to remove the G, water, in ego, and replace it with Ka, K, the spirit of oil, becoming that echo. We are all well conditioned from birth to silence that echo into the polarized ego where conditions replace unconditionality. Don't try telling an ego about that either, unless your intent is to stir up the murky waters to be imprinted with the same virus in them that loves to infect others of its misery loves company kind, or to expose this program for them without you yourself being imprinted. That is the nature of a catalyst, in that it creates the reaction while remaining fully unchanged and neutral in the process. Spiritual awakening clues are laid out so clearly in the physical realms, thou most miss them, because they are in the literal physical interpretations of them. This is a game of energies interacting, creating physical things where most see that only in a mirror of illusion and distraction. This ego thing is so easy to spot, where all one has to do is realize when they are reacting, playing out the same role, to anything, be it through words, situations, or circumstances from emotions. If you get that last sentence, you're well on your way. Just notice some of the reactions you may have hearing or reading this, and there are your mirrors and clues. Clue, clay, your nails or your keys to open your doors or nail you back on the same cross I'm trying to pull you down from. It's funny how the Roman Catholic Church spends so much time and effort placing the crucified idol up on a pedestal. So is it any wonder why the world is the mess it is? Again, do not get polarized on this either by ranting about the church, the government, etc., because they are all our creations equally, set in place to play this game. Been there, done that, insanity. Once you see them for the mirrors they are, then you'll be able to balance it. So much for the mystery and blindness gets removed once you start truly seeing what is contained in the spellings and words. Take, for example, lancing a boil, and make a few alterations by flipping out the hex G with the spirit Ka, and using sound as your guide, no spellbinding. Lancing becomes Lance Ink. Now letter by letter and sound by sound expand it. LA or law makes law sound as well as law and others. And is conjunctive possessive, which means anything it is connected to says mine. C is the note of love, 528 hertz, and is the open O or unconditional, allowing all things in and out equally. The I is the upside down spirit of I, or the exclamation mark, which you may know as an exclamation mark. Horse from Welsh sounded as whores as well. The last letter being spirit allows me to read a sentence, many, out of that word, but it is now what my intention says in that sound versus another's imprinted definition. Literally, lance means to stab something, or a spear a knight might carry, if one is spellbound fully. Here's the hidden meaning I use for the same sound. The law that is mine in unconditional love in consciousness, as below so above in my spirit, or law mine in spirit. I always thought it odd as a child that the letters could be used to spell the letters out, and I saw that as the same as using a word you were defining in its definition of itself. A little insane if you ask me, so I learned to look a little deeper. The best part about this phonics revolution is that the ego loves to play its little intellectual games, so they're peas in a pod. Only when one removes emotion from all equations will one truly see this, and then begin to see the connectedness of all things. The ego is constantly asking questions outside of itself due to its fear of being found and made responsible for its actions. It will use any and all justifiers to achieve this aim and continue on its circular merry-go-round. Simply put, the ego is hell and you, the real you, are heaven. The ego is the demon, the of me that needs to be exercised, not exercised, but many have quite the inner jungle gym, my G, hex of intent, L of spirit, new in this mirror, literally. For me, this game is about returning the power of intentions to myself and others, and the only way I found to do this is by literally reversing the negative intentions in all words and all languages as a result of the symbiotic nature of sounds being attached to the letters. The mother of creation is silent magnetic. Her creation is sound that forms all things, including light, just a higher frequency is all. These truths are so utterly blatant once you begin to see the magic of this connectedness in sound by decoding the spellings where coincidences cease to exist. Coincidence has three words that come to mind immediately, but then I spend the time to slow down during show and tell, patiently waiting for the other children to share their glee without being impatient about, trying to show off my toy is better. Coin, side, dents. Coin, side, ents are the immediate toys to play with. So let's play and see what we can build with these let-go blocks, shall we? Coin, something you can use to barter with, has three sides with a rim, a head and a tail of the dragon. Please note, I use all sound rules as they appear in all variations of all letters in all languages, and using these rules, I break all rules accordingly. Do not be sonically fooled by my spellings. Mine are deliberate of liberate, in order to set you free of this spellbinding we're all in. Side, simply a choice as to a position of positive, negative, or neutral in the same way as a coin has three of them, so do you. Side is a suffix, sounds identical yet means to kill, as in genocide, etc. Though when these sounds are uttered without knowing this, what are you really creating in the every sound wish granted in the formerly silent magnetic field? Sound creates all of our reality, where the intentions hidden by another have us creating their realities in our ignorance of this truth. Which side are you on? Dense, very compacted, heavy, no room to vibrate, no space to create. Ents is a suffix for mind or spirit, where emotions create density and destiny, and is the creation field of your intent. Unfortunately, your intent has been owned by another, and emotions are the tools used to make people tools of their creations. Co is a prefix meaning duality or together, and creates a paired intent when attached, attacked to another word. Remember, I use all available sounds contained in the letters, where CH can also make a K sound. But you have to slow down your monkey mind chatter, which is all ego, trying to figure stuff out analytically. It is the most powerful tool in the physical when you can contain the emotional reactions versus emotional choices. In can be defined as part of, and the I, mine. You should try flipping your keyboard upside down to see what you can see. Quite fascinating. In a literal sentence or two, coincidence takes on many tensions. In io shuns, in 10 ions, where one is torn in duality on the head or tail of their own drag on, where their spirit breath bro of the I am rim is still spinning in the constant ego coin tosses. I'm hoping by now you're beginning to see the magic of this and how we are all spellbound due to emotions, emotions, or consciousness mote ions. I have covered these things in countless shows and writings, so if your intention is to be spiritually free, you will take the time to read and listen. I am long wearied by the emotional types that feel the need to insist that I am lying to them, where perhaps they need to also put everything on the line. They need to also put everything on the line to stand in truth. An ego will never accept an answer as true because it has been formulated. It has already formulated its own excuses and justifiers, where it simply cannot hear truth, since all they've been used to all their lives are lies from a broken mirror of this material world. As a personal example to illustrate this point, I was asked the other day from someone in a pure emotional ego program if I missed my kids or not. Well, one, that is simply a retarded question, given that it was for my children and loved ones closest to me that I set out on this path that encompassed all humanity. Contained within the question itself is an assumption created that somehow I did not, but then that is simply judgment from a polarized dragon. Regardless of how I will answer any questions, Q stuns, K stuns, an presumption that is and was already there. The master asks questions from within and makes statements without, where the slave asks questions outside for another master's statement taken within. Again, sheer insanity.